In all ways, by the way.
And I only read a handful of some of these eyewitness reports. So this guy who sent a picture, he said, this is the picture I got. When he walked in, I asked him who he thought would win the Rangers game. And he was wasted and being sarcastic, and he said the Capitals would win after he looked at my Rangers shirt. I asked him what he thought of Henrik Lundqvist, and he sarcastically said he's not that great and he's decent. He was asked by another fan why he's hating on Henrik, and then Kane asked the Rangers fan if he would Henrik's and made the motion with his hand, at which point I told them there was a reason the Rangers were still on TV and he wasn't, and he kissed a bottle of beer as if to kiss the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, very mature. That and Don Cooper earlier today on the station with
that and Coop.
Robin needs some eating.
Yeah, Coop was just great. And I love some of the responses to Coop. The Wilhelm scream says Coop is the classic example of the guy in the crowd of people screaming and flailing, telling everyone to calm down. When in fact, he's the one who needs to calm down, unless, of course, he knows something we don't. But how can you not be aware that describing how routine the MRI is when a pitcher has a sore elbow and then coming out immediately and saying he's not hurt, he's not injured, how ridiculous that sounds, and be unaware of the ridiculousness is what's perplexing.
Aren't you listening?
Yes, I'm trying to.
Aren't you listening?
I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to figure everything out. I apologize.
What are you talking about?
I'm struggling a bit.
I'll have to check around, by the way. I'll see if you just, MRIs, anything wrong with you? No? Okay, let's get an MRI. We'll see if we can do that. See who's going to pay for that exactly. They won't pay for it if you order one. Are you kidding me? No, there's nothing wrong with you, but here's what you're going to do. You're going to get an MRI. Oh, okay. That's just what I'll do. No, he's priced. And again, why are you so defensive? Nobody's charged you with anything. Nobody insinuated. Nobody's hinted. Nobody's done anything. Marlene Hanley didn't do any of that. Nobody was after you.
So maybe he knows he really is hurt. I don't know, but they haven't done an MRI yet. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I've seen teams be secretive, like the idea that Joakim Noah is a game time decision.
Right?
No, he's not. He can't walk. How is he a game time decision? There's an email here from Workout Sweat who says, listening to you talk about Kane and reading the Deadspin story, I think it's pretty obvious he's a binge drinker who can go for days or weeks without drinking, but when they do, can't stop until unconscious. I thought the actual definition of binge drinker was much more broad than that it was sort of like 5 or more drinks at a time, twice or more a week or something. Because you read these studies about like college binge drinking, and then you look at how they define it, and you're like, oh, really? That's kind of a weak definition. I always imagine a true binge drinker was like that. The people who, when they drink, just don't stop until they pass out.
I think that's the definition I would use.
I don't know. Well, like there have been some famous drunks who would go on like a 5-day spree. And end up in Ireland or something, or end up on an airplane, or end up God knows where, and just where it's just a total blur, where they just they don't remember. It's like a true the old fashioned bender.
Yeah, and if somebody says to me somebody's out binge drinking, that's what I think.
Yeah, that's a bender. When you spend an entire weekend like that, just a weekend totally lost. Like my friends in college that tried to do the 100 beer weekend.
Oh no.
Where it starts after class on Friday and it has to end by like midnight Sunday, and everybody tries to drink 100 beers.
Oh, I'm sick thinking about it.
Right, I didn't participate in that.
I love beer, but my God, 100?
Doing a 100 beer weekend.
No.
And I said, no, I'm not.
I don't like the math on that per day.
I had a hard enough time at Durham Athletic Park at the Durham Bulls games doing beer and inning when it was $1 per 16-ounce beer.
God.
And you end up
I can't do that.
No, you're just peeing all the time.
Yeah, Danny, binge drinking is defined as episodic excessive drinking.
Mm-hmm.
There's currently no worldwide consensus on how many drinks constitutes a binge, but in the U.S., the term is often taken to mean consuming 5 or more standard drinks.
Uh-oh. I think a lot of people just sort of sit in their cars and wait a second
Wait
here.
a minute. I think I'm a binge drinker.
Hold on.
That's for men. For women, it's 4.
What about hot women?
Hot women, it's 2.
Okay. I've only had 2 Cosmos. You have your shirts off. And we're in a movie theater.
And Kane is rating you.
Right. And Patrick Kane has just pulled down your sunglasses and says, no, not good enough. Sorry.
You know, there's also a way to, if you want to, what seems to happen, it's more, it's all disturbing, no matter what part of it. Pick a part, it's all disturbing. But his seeming willingness to antagonize everybody around him.
That's
There are
the
certain
other part.
guys, you could go out and you could have a lot of beer and you don't bother anybody. You're just probably sleeping on the table
And
at
in
some
the
point.
U.S., sometimes the term extreme drinking
Yep.
or industrial strength binging
Ooh.
is used to describe a more severe form of single evening binge drinking, often defined as 10 or more standard American drinks on a single occasion.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I think I've done that.
Yeah, I think everybody's done that.
Yeah, done that.
And you end up at Waffle House. That's what Waffle House is for.
Even though they're just moments before the shootings are going to begin.
Or Taco Burrito King.
Here's something very depressing. Approximately 1 in 25 women binge drink during pregnancy.
That's lovely.
That is lovely.
That's just fabulous.
But, you could go out and...
And then they give birth to a caner.
Caner.
I mean...
I have bad news for you, ma'am.
It's a caner.
I think you could probably
Is it a
go
boy?
out...
Yes, but it's Caner.
Mullet t-shirt with his own picture on it.
Sunglasses on.
And this...
It's got a T-shirt, but it hasn't been named yet. So on the back, it just says name.
Tell him your name, sent you.
Oh, name said you. It's got a picture of himself in utero. Woo! First words. Woo!
Well, all I know is you can certainly do that if you're him, but why is it that everywhere you go and you do it, you antagonize people?
That's just part of how he drinks.
You could go out and drink for a long time and never antagonize anybody.
I've been around a lot of really, really nice guys
That are really bad
that
when
are
they're
just
drunk, right?
that get a couple in them and just itch for conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just-
according to Wikipedia on binge drinking, this is just in case you guys didn't know, binge drinking is considered harmful.
Oh, damn it!
Well,
That's too bad.
there goes another weekend.
Here's
I,
what
I can't find a benefits section under Wikipedia.
under binge drinking benefits.
Yes, I can't
of
find
binge
one.
drinking. Sleeping, ability to sleep, maybe
Yeah, but you don't always know where you sleep, though.
making Denny's palatable. Is that an advantage?
I don't know what I'm talking
No, because they... No.
Yeah, you can't talk about it. You're not allowed because of that one night. You're just not allowed. It's something interesting that I've been reading in this Keith Richards memoir about, of all guys, this is Keith Damn Richards, who said that even through his heroin addiction, he said he was around a lot of people who used a lot of drugs who never stopped using that night, that they would just keep taking hits of whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And he said the reason he's alive is he would always do just enough. And he said he would never be like more. He said no matter what the drug, he said he sees these cocaine guys. He said really, he said one line should last you for hours, but people 10 minutes later are looking for more. He said that as much as he put into his body, he was always able to pace himself.
There was a study done by the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control.
Yes.
In case you didn't know that. In 2011, so last year's study.
A study on Caner?
What would you guess that binge drinking costs society in America a year because of healthcare costs for alcohol-related issues, including liver cirrhosis, loss of work productivity, property damage due to drunk driving, and expenditures related to criminal acts? What would you
$15 billion.
guess? A CDC study in 2011 costs American society.
$15 billion.
$5 billion.
Terry, you said 15?
Mm-hmm.
$223 billion a year.
Oh my!
That's
God.
too much.
That's too.
How much
that's
of that is
too
cane?
damn high.
I think at least $750 million of that is cane.
Well, in 2010, it must have been $250 billion at least.
We should take that out of his contract then, because that's too much. That's costing us money now. Now we have consequences here that we're feeling. We're Boers and Bernstein. Wow. You've got the score.
And who would ever guess, Boers and Bernstein, Chicago Sports Radio 670, the score, that we'd be talking about binge drinking. getting numbers on binge drinking.
Well, here's something really cool that was sent in. It was mentioning the idea of like the multi-day bender that Kaner seemed to be on here.
That's right. Well, is there another kind for him?
Here's one explanation for where that term came from. A bender is a prolonged, irresponsible, and dangerous bout of drinking and took its name from the patrons of London alehouses during the 1850s. To promote drinking, it was common for a tavern to offer patrons all they could drink for twopence a day. So 6 was good for 3 days. The 6 coin, which is worth about a quarter, was nicknamed a bender because if it wasn't phony, it could be easily bent. Since this bendable coin guaranteed 3 days of libation, the subsequent binge became known as a bender. I can't verify that or not, but I
did not know that.
It certainly sounds plausible.
Yeah.
And Texter wants to know, what is the term when Terry doesn't put pants on for 3 consecutive days? It's called a weekend.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Well, yeah. I listen. I could honestly
long weekend.
Yeah, long weekend. I can honestly say though that the binge thing, no, that really, very, very rarely. And I see if I'm him, I don't need to have that part of it.
I never, ever was able to do that. I've talked about that before. The day drinking. Like the guys before football games would be like a noon kickoff.
Oh, yeah, and run out there and
drink
10 in the morning.
And then they're out that
9
night.
9 in the morning, 8 in the morning.
They're out that night. Any time like 3 times in college, maybe I would try to drink during the day. And that was it. I'm asleep, and maybe I wake up at 3 in the morning or something. But I don't know where that kind of ability comes from. That kind of stamina. Never, ever, ever. I don't know who can sustain like that. Whole weekends. Maybe it's the guys also using amphetamines and coke. Maybe that's part of it too. Maybe it's just if you just stick with alcohol, you're doomed anyway. I don't know. I don't know what the secret is to it. Never tried to find out.